Yep.
What do you want to? What kind of interesting topics do we got on this one?
Oh, dude. We just keep going with whatever.
Go on, man.
Like, dude, we both made that weird transition from Argo to Plainfield.
Yeah.
There was that whole thing,
Oh yeah.
which is
Yeah.
a whole.
Can you still hear me all right?
You probably want to be a little bit closer.
I did pull it back.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Just I lost you on the headphones. There we are. I don't know if yours get fucked up, but
Yeah, it needs like a little clip or something to hold the cable.
yeah. We mess around with them sometimes. That's why they get like that.
Yeah.
I got this fucking phone over here, but anyway. Yeah. Yeah, dude, we both made that weird transition, which was kind of cool. You know that. Well, I mean, I know. Did you and Bronski move out here at the same time?
No, I think he moved out here to Plainfield before I did, because I remember on the first day I did like my quote unquote area orientation.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me a hall pass, and I forget where I was going exactly, but I was going somewhere, and then I remember at that same time Bronski like had a hall pass apparently.
Yeah.
And me and him both ran into each other, and we're like, it was like, you know, stepbrothers, like, do we just become just best friends? But it was like, bro, what? You're here too? Like, I know you moved, but I didn't know where you went, you know? And we're like,
Right.
what? And then, like, obviously, like, a year or two later, whatever, you showed up.
Yeah. I remember when I saw Bronski, I was in the hall, walking down the hall after class, like, you know, between classes or whatever, and I seen him, and I'm like, I know that fucking guy. Because I knew you were out here, obviously. I came out. You went to pick me up, so I came out to visit a few times. But yeah, I remember I was like, I know this fucking guy.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I know that fucking guy. Like, we're like, do you like velociraptors? Did we just become best friends?
Right.
And we had that situation too. It was like, this fucking cool.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to rekindle that.
Yep. And then eventually down the line, we used to have those like New Year's parties at Jake's house.
Yeah.
And then one time Chris came out. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah.
He passed out, and like I remember he passed out in like the solo rocking chair or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that. Dude, I remember that party. I was boxing with Nick out in the backyard.
Yeah. Me and him saw each other not too long ago.
Yeah.
I still he lives in Aurora.
Does he?
Yeah, he does like computer security stuff.
Nice.
He's cool. Yeah. His wife's like a nurse and stuff. I remember one time. This is like when he lived in the Wheaton or whatever. We got into we went out and whatever. It was like the first time we saw each other after years.
Yeah.
We went out drinking or whatever, and we were like fucked up, you know. And his wife was a nurse. She was like taking care of us and stuff. That was cool.
Awesome.
That was like, all right. She gets the pass in my book. She's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's good peeps.
Yeah, dude. I remember, like, and just so to clarify, we weren't boxing like angry or anything. We were just like, it was just something to do on New Year's Eve.
No, gloves.
2023.
Yeah, gloves in 2023.
Yeah.
It was like 2002.
Or 2003. Right? It was 2003.
Yeah. 20 years ago or over.
22 years ago.
Yeah, 22 years ago. That's crazy, man.
That's fucking wild, dude. Speaking of 20 years ago, I just saw that 20 years ago, the series Friends ended. Did you ever watch that show?
I saw episodes here and there. It was never like, I wasn't really into like watching TV at the time. I was like going out and like, you know, hit clubs and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was my thing.
Yeah, that show ran for 10 years, dude. It was like one of the longest running shows at that time, like with people not animated.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. But now it's like, you got It's Always Sunny, that's like on its 17th season, and then you get those like CSI shows that have like fucking, they've been on the air for 30 years already, because they just keep going, you know. But,
shout out to Stargate.
The true MacGyver.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I interact with a bunch of the actors and like the producers and stuff of the show and like the writers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like about Axe. It's like they're super cool. Like
Kate Sackhoff.
I don't want to interact with her. Actually, I should follow her. I don't think I follow her.
Yeah. She was really good in The Mandalorian, dude.
Yeah.
Did
What's her name? Bo-Katan?
Yeah, she was Bo-Katan.
Yeah. I watched the whole Mandalorian. The only one I didn't finish watching was the spinoff of Rogue One for the show. It was like the spy.
Andor,
yeah. I watched like a few episodes and I'm like, this is good, but it should have been a movie.
I did not watch Andor. No, I missed out on that. There's a lot of the Star Wars stuff that I missed out on. I know, like, Kyle's really, like, he's more Star Wars than me. As far as the lore, he's not, like, geeked out, like, action figure stuff, like me.
Yeah.
But he's really into, like, the lore, and he knows a lot more than I do as far as Star Wars goes. Like, I didn't see Solo.
Solo's good.
I didn't see, what's the other one that you just mentioned? Andor. I didn't watch that.
Andor, there was the Obi-Wan.
I saw Obi-Wan I really liked, and I'm really hoping they still plan on doing season 2.
Yeah, the only messed up part of Obi-Wan was where, like, Obi-Wan's behind the firewall and Darth Vader's behind the other firewall, and he's like, oh, crap, a fire, I can't get you, even though, like, he was made in fire, and, like, his suit is fire retardant.
Well, it was... he got fucked up in Mustafar, dude.
Yeah, but he could have got him.
He did not have the higher ground, brother.
But he's got the Force.
True. He could have just been, like, opened himself a path. Yeah.
Or just, like, grabbed him and, like, pulled him through the other side.
You gotta remember, Obi-Wan was stronger with the Force, though. Even though Anakin was the chosen one, if you saw the whole show, like, from A to Z, Obi-Wan ended up being in my book, the best Jedi is Obi-Wan. In my book.
Well, bro, you don't like Mace or what?
Mace Windu?
Yeah.
Are you trying to put me on the spot saying that I don't like him because he's black?
Oh, I didn't say that.
He was going after the Chandler saying, the path of the righteous man is set. Yeah, no, dude, I like Mace Windu. He was actually supposed to be physically the strongest one.
What was the one with Rosario Dawson?
Oh, that was Ahsoka. I didn't finish that.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
I started it and I didn't finish it. I really meant to.
The only one I did. Okay, I take it back. I didn't finish Andor, and I didn't see the one with like the lesbian witches.
Are you talking? That's Marvel though.
No. It was the Star Wars ones with the lesbian witches.
I don't know.
Where they basically the acolyte. Yeah, that's the acolyte. Yeah,
the acolyte. Yeah, I didn't see that one either.
Yeah, they basically
I heard that was too woke, so I was like, nah.
Yeah, they try to rewrite the whole thing. Like originally, like Anakin was like the one or whatever that was born out of the Force, and they try to go back and say like, oh no, he was not the one. It was this female character that was twins.
Well, not to sound like a pedo, but Daphne Keane grew up nice.
Daphne Keane,
she was 23 in Logan.
Oh, okay. Girl. I don't remember. I kind of vaguely remember her, but not really.
Dude, look it up.
They need a Sydney Sweeney in Star Wars.
She got very Sydney Sweeney, dude.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember.
Take away all the fucking white makeup and the lightsaber holes.
Oh yeah, lightsaber holes kind of kill it.
She grew up very, very nice, but I don't want to get into any more. Anyway. Yeah. And she was really good in Deadpool Wolverine. But before we continue, we're redoing Tavern beer, so you can try it out. Even though
Haymarket?
Haymarket. Even though I already got yelled at by Kyle for redoing beers without him.
Hey, but it's like you're not doing a new one at least,
Yeah. Well, it's to get something.
Yeah.
And take advantage of the fact that we were able to get you here. So
cool.
This was an awesome beer. I really liked it. And
I like the Chicago flag marketing on here.
Yep. It's a lager, 5.5, so it's a little bit heavier than the previous one we did.
All right.
But these are smaller cans, so we want to keep it low dosage for you.
Sounds good. Pop
and this is, it's going to taste like a regular tavern beer, which is, in all honesty, it's just like drinking a cold brew at a bar. It's going to take you there, dude. It's going to transport you.
We can do the smell test.
Yeah, smell it.
It smells like a dive. I like it. Hey, an aside.
A dive in the best sense of the word, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Not like a dirty dive, but like a lived-in dive.
Well, and you can attest to this. The shittier a place is, not to say we've been to the Tavern, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But food-wise, the shittier a place looks, the better the food.
Oh, shout out to Alpha Row Mexican joint in Summit, Illinois, Scummit. Also, there's a number 1 and number 2 in Riverside, Illinois. But that one looks too nice. It's not that good.
No.
Yeah, you got to go to the dive, You got
to go to Archer.
Yeah, you might have roach in your food, but if not, then you found a winner.
It's like the fucking the golden ticket from Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of deal.
Yep, exactly.
So you smell it, just like it.
It smells like a dab.
Smells like a fucking beer, dude. Smells like it's supposed to.
Reminds me of Wicker Park. Wicker Park, circa 2024.
Just
Cheers.
a little bit. Cheers. So good.
That's good.
It's very smooth, right?
Smooth. It's got a little hoppy, but it's not like overpoweringly citrusy hoppy.
Oh,
it's
dude,
like
I don't get any hops from this.
No,
it's good. No, I liked it. We've had hoppy beers, and the senses kind of get attuned to the hops a little bit. So this was not hoppy at all. Trust me.
I like it better than the other one, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
good. It's good. It's got like a richer flavor too. The other one's a little more like lighter. You can taste it's lighter.
Well, it's less alcohol by volume, so it's probably a little bit more. I saw a thing they did where it's like, oh, you want a lighter beer, less alcohol? It's like water it down. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's probably more water based, but still good.
It's got that 312 vibe, like original Formula 312 before it was sold to Budweiser.
Yeah.
It's good. I like it.
Yeah.
That's a drinkable beer.
Yeah. So back to Star Wars. Obi-Wan, man, he was the shit. Do you know a lot about the lore or no? Are you like deep in or no?
I know a good amount about the lore just from because Heather's really into Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I personally am more of a Stargate person, so I know a lot about Stargate.
Well, see, you're one of those guys where it's like you got the Star Trek fans and the Star Wars fans, and you're like, hey, yeah, I like Star Trek or I like Stargate.
Yeah,
you're like the little kid on the side.
Yeah, but far superior.
Sure, everybody's got their niche.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Well, you like what was that show that you guys watched? That was it was a long-running sci-fi show with the two detective guys that looked at the paranormal stuff.
Supernatural.
Yeah, it's in the same vein.
Yeah, but over here they're dealing with like monsters.
Right, but the mainstream version of that would have been X-Files.
No, because there's no aliens in Supernatural. Like they never.
But they had like the offshoots in X-Files of like, paranormal. You know what I mean? So a lot of tied to aliens and stuff, but.
Yeah, for sure. I remember that. Yeah.
So X-Files is like the Star Wars. Supernatural is like the Stargate.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I guess I never I delved. I tried to get really hard into the X-Files for a while.
Yeah. And
I was like, oh man, this is not hard to follow, but I remember it being a lot more interesting than it is. Like, not to say it doesn't hold up, because it definitely does.
X-Files?
Yeah.
Okay.
It holds up.
Yeah.
But it's like...
Shout out to Gillian Anderson back in the day.
Sure. Yeah. But...
Anyway.
Yeah, but it's like... I think if they did it now, it'd be a lot cooler. Because now it's like a lot of things like proven or whatnot,
Yeah.
So...
Think about all the material they could write with all the ancient alien, ancient astronaut theories, the pyramids with the
coils they found underneath. Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, I was gonna ask you, completely tangent, but did you see the thing about the direwolves that they cloned or whatever?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that was. I listened to the whole podcast with the guy on Rogan.
Yeah.
Let me check. I got his name here.
Yeah, that's so cool. They look really cool, like white wolves, basically.
They are, dude, really cool. But do you know how they started? Because it started with the whole like woolly mammoth thing.
Okay.
And they wanted to see.
I know it's not 100% dire wolves. It's like they had to take modern existing
gray wolf.
Yeah, it's like if they had to do a velociraptor nowadays, they would have to use a chicken DNA. So it'd be like a chicken velociraptor type thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have to have a template.
Exactly, but they do pull a lot of DNA from like fossils or whatever that they found.
Okay. I know it has like the same yip, like a yip. You know, it's got the same yip as the original dire wolves.
Yeah, because like
supposedly.
So the episode came out and everybody's all hyped up because they're like, "Oh my god, they're cloning dire wolves! I'm gonna be a fucking Jon Snow."
Yeah.
And the guy Ben Lamb is his name. I just found him. He does a really good job at explaining because he's like, I don't do the cloning myself. He's like, I'm a fucking. He's like, I run the company that helps fund these kinds of research and stuff.
Okay.
But he does it, like he's really involved. He does a really good job at explaining how they did it, and like he goes to the sites where they find like the where they get the findings, and they're like, all right, this is what we're doing, and blah blah blah. They did woolly mice.
Woolly mice. Is that like a woolly mammoth mice hybrid, or what is that like?
Because they usually test shit on mice, right?
Yeah.
So they tried woolly mice, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, they're so cute!" And like, everybody thinks they're gonna be up for sale. And they're like, "No, dude. No."
Just imagine those things get out into the population and like breeding like crazy, like mice do.
Yeah. Oh my god, no. You have a woolly mice.
Do they have trunks and stuff, or?
Well, I haven't seen them.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I didn't hear about those.
I don't know. How do you spell woolly?
W. I think you had it right with Hooley, maybe.
Mice. Here we go. It's no H. Double O double L.
Okay.
Let's see if there's some images up here. Oh, look at them! They're so hairy.
They look like guinea pigs.
Yeah, they just have a lot of hair. Like
yeah.
They are really cool, dude.
It's got like a rat tail though.
Well, they're mice, yeah.
But I mean, it's like thicker like a rat, you know.
Yeah. It is so cool.
So what was the? What did they find out with these guys? What did they do?
Oh, they were just trying to I guess breeding these dudes like hybrids. They find out like, oh, this is the actual hair color of the woolly mammoths. Like everybody's like, oh, they're brown or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's like they're blondish, dirty blondish color or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, I see that picture right there to the right where it looks like compared to a regular mouse.
Yeah. So there it is.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That'd be a good pet.
It looks a little bit hamsterish.
A little bit hamsterish, yeah.
Yeah. So so I saw that episode, and then they dive into the whole direwolf thing.
Okay.
Because they were like, oh, everybody thought it would be cool, and they actually have them. I think they have 3. They have 2 guys and a female. Yeah. Remus, Romulus, and Khaleesi.
Those are definitely Star Trek fans.
Yeah, I guess.
Romulan is like whatever. We don't have to go down the rabbit hole.
Well, they have Romulus, the alien movie that just came out too.
Okay. Is that a good one? I haven't heard about that one.
Oh, it's really good.
Yeah. You saw that already? Wait,
yeah.
Isn't that Aliens?
Alien.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they do Alien Romulus.
Okay. Cool.
I forgot where that falls into the timeline. I think it's
like a prequel.
I think it's like after Alien 1. It falls somewhere in there.
Is it like after Prometheus?
Yeah, they're after that. Like Prometheus and Covenant were supposed to be like the first 2.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if those are canon. I think they are, but
yeah, because they're Ripley or whatever.
No, they're not. Ripley's not in them.
No, Prometheus. I thought that was actually made by Ripley.
You mean Weyland-Yutani, the company? The only thing.
No. The director.
Oh, no.
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 Okay.
No, Ripley was Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, the actress.
Right.
Who am I thinking then? Who's the director or whatever?
It's not George Lucas.
It's definitely not George Lucas.
He didn't even direct the first fucking Star Wars. Yeah.
He hates all the new ones too.
I bet, dude.
Ridley Scott, that's what I was thinking of.
Oh, Ridley Scott.
Yeah, Ridley Scott. Yeah.
Scott Ridley, but whatever.
Not Riley Reid.
Riley Reid, really Rod.
Riley Scott, Ridley Scott.
Dude, you got fucked up with that woolly mice.
I don't know, man. Threw me off.
You like some fucking words. Man.
Threw me off a bit.
Yeah, but the direwolves, man, and they're like I saw like a bunch of like people like. The other people are like, oh my god, it's so cool. They're bringing these extinct animals back. I'm like, I hope they bring the fucking rhino, the longhorn rhino back and shit. Like animals that weren't supposed to die because we fucking killed them. You know?
Yeah, or like the Tasmanian devil. Those types of creatures.
Right.
Like more recent, but they passed away.
Yeah, like you're not going to bring back a T-Rex because we all saw Jurassic Park. Everybody says that. But like there's dudes that are like, that's not a direwolf because they mix in gray wolf DNA. But it's like, yeah, dude, you need something to fucking create it. You can't just...
Yeah.
You're not going to make... Like, you need an egg or embryo. The guy explains it, Ben Lamb explains it really well, where he's like, you need something to fucking go off of. So, yeah, it's not 100%, but...
Yeah, you need like a template, like something that's a close relative where you can splice in the genes or turn them on or whatever.
But what the guy says, he's like... So in the fossils or whatever, the genome, they find the DNA or whatever, and they're like, as much as they can, they put it in. So it's like, oh, we found 50%. That direwolf's 15% direwolf.
Hey, fuck all these animals. I want them to bring back a full Neanderthal.
Neanderthal.
Excuse my French. Neanderthal. Yeah.
I got a lisp.
Yeah. Let's bring back one of those guys.
Well, it would be cool to see where we came from, because there's the whole evolution theory that people are like, oh, this is not true. And it's just that's a whole nother rabbit hole, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of gaps in our family tree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like Joe Rogan's theory about like how it's like, dude, they hit us fucked with our DNA because we went from being Neanderthals to humans all of a sudden.
Shout out to the Anunnaki.
Yeah, the Anunnakis, right.
Yeah. Well,
You're well versed in your shit sometimes.
Hey, sometimes. Am I 100% correct? No.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Dude,
Yep.
Our podcast is mostly fake news. It's just it's opinion based, and it's like, did you hear this?
I think the technical term for that nowadays is called misinformation.
Yes. Well, it's opinion based.
According to the fact checkers that are all misinformation.
Right, you got the fact Nazis.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to the fact Nazis.
Yeah.
But dude.
Snopes.
Yeah. That whole... Can you imagine if they found like Hitler's remains and they're like, oh, we're going to bring back Hitler? It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, did you see that FBI declassified or CIA declassified documents that just came out recently that show that Hitler actually didn't die in Germany and survived and lived out his life and fathered, like, I think multiple daughters in Argentina?
It would not surprise me. There was that show, Finding Hitler.
Yeah. Tim Kennedy.
And there was the theory about Hitler having multiple doubles, kind of like Putin does, and many other... Yeah, so I totally believe it, dude.
Yeah.
He probably had some fucking dope. It's like, hey, you're going to go in the vault or you're going to fucking kill yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to, like, those parts of Argentina, you go there and it's, like, totally German.
Yeah.
There's, like, German architecture.
Dude. Starship Troopers. Just look at that movie.
Yeah. Buenos Aires and all that stuff.
Buenos Aires, they're all blonde, blue eyes, and then you look at the fucking, like, where Neil Patrick Harris went with the smart guys, they're all Gestapo.
That's true. Even their uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all fucking,
It's alternate reality, really.
Fucking, what's it called? Who's the really famous clothesline right now that fucking made the clothes for the Nazis?
Nike?
No. It wasn't Nike.
Oh.
No, those dudes would have been running.
Yeah.
Those dudes were marching, dude. No, it was it Hugo Boss? Maybe?
I don't know.
It was something like that. It was like something like a big, kind of like Volvo was involved and fucking... You don't even want to get me started on the Catholic Church. Every time somebody's like, oh, the Catholic can't do wrong, I was like, what about the Crusades? What about the World War?
I just want to know what's in those archives.
True.
They're holding some secrets. I bet you they got some stuff from, like, the Library of Alexandria.
I bet you as soon as Hitler got with the Catholic Church and they were like, we're going after the Jews, he's like, do it. The Pope at the time was probably like, yeah, fucking annihilate those fuckers. They're a competition.
Bro, that stuff's crazy, man.
It is, dude.
It's wild. Not 100% correct on this, but I know there's, like, actually Christian/Catholic sects that are in Jerusalem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's wild. I think it's crazy, the whole Elon, the whole Elon Nazi thing too. Like, they call Elon Nazi, but bro, this dude's been to Jerusalem, kissed the Temple Mount with Netanyahu, which is, the Prime Minister of Israel.
Right.
And they call him a Nazi because he put his hand in the air.
Yeah, but they've shown pictures of Hillary Clinton doing that and other politicians, and they're like, oh, all right, liberals, what about this?
Yeah,
what do you say to that?
I think the term Nazi is just like, I don't like you, basically, nowadays.
Yeah, it's so watered down at this point that it's like, they use it for everything.
Yeah.
Like, and being guilty of it, like, we had a guy at work who was like, not at my current job, one of my previous jobs, who was like a safety nut. We're like, oh, here comes a safety Nazi, because he was like, oh, 9999.
Yeah, I was
you are doing these wrong.
Yep, I was training a guy at work. We're talking just random stuff. My boss has got a Tesla Model Y, and I'm just like, oh, you get a Tesla Model Y, and this new guy's like,
I'm gonna put a swastika on it.
No, he's like, oh, I don't like Teslas. I'm like, oh, why? Thinking like he doesn't electric cars, and he said he was a car guy. And he's like, no, I don't mind electric cars. He's like, I don't want to get all political and stuff, but their CEO is a Nazi. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. Dude.
Teach your own, I suppose, but, Kanye's more of a Nazi than Elon.
That dude's selling shirts with swastikas on.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to get it spray painted on.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude. I don't know what's... I don't know what's going on with all that.
It's
But
nonsense.
it is nonsense. I'm not gonna say I'm 100% behind everything the current administration is doing because it has its ebbs and flows.
Sure, nobody's gonna be perfect.
Right, but the idea behind what they're trying to do, I'm for that.
I mean, they even said that nothing's gonna be 100% perfect, and they're gonna make some mistakes. But the fact they're actually doing something is more than previous administrations have done. You know what I mean?
Right, and
Whether it's to save taxpayers' money
the thing
or
is, like, the system is so corrupt
yeah,
that when you bring guys that want to fix it, and they're like, okay, we got to fix it, but we got to do it from the inside. You have so many people that are already on the inside against you.
yep,
It's like you're fighting against, yourselves.
right. And it's like decades of entrenchment into the system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's fucking rough, dude. Because who doesn't like? I'm still waiting for the no taxes on overtime, no taxes on tips, and no taxes on Social Security stuff.
Yeah, that's just something that has to be passed in Congress and the House and stuff.
I
But
thought it already passed, and now they're waiting on. I don't know if it was the
well, it was
House.
a bill that I think.
I thought Congress passed it, but the House was like, "Oh, hold on."
Yeah, probably something like that. It's always gets held up in a
Right.
section. Hey, as long as they get rid of taxes, I'm alright with that.
Yeah.
That's one thing they were talking about, getting rid of federal income taxes.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, dude, 40% of your checks go into taxes.
Yeah.
And where is that going? Because
Not coming to us.
it's definitely not
It's going to NGOs and
It's going to fucking trans programs in fucking Siberia or some shit.
right, but it's all funneled through NGOs and it comes back to the politicians that are voting on those bills.
Yeah, it's money laundering.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of fucked up because, like, honestly, so let me ask you this question. How much money do you need to be like, all right, I don't have to work again? You say I can retire. I'm not saying like to have a rich, lavish life, but just like, all right, the money I'm making now, maybe a little more, but I could hold out till I'm like 90.
I think if you invest your money properly, like a couple mil, put into the proper, stocks and stuff that can give you dividends, and you could live off the dividends.
Well, I'm not talking like that. I'm saying like if you got like let's say like if they did a universal income kind of deal. Like I know that desensitizes work and fucking progress. And
I don't like universal income.
Right.
Are we going there? Probably, because AI is going to take over everything eventually.
Maybe, but like if you had like a steady, like let's say I don't know, $2,000 a week. Hey, you're gonna get $2,000 a week for the rest of your life. You wouldn't have to work. As long as the economy didn't go like, all right, now it's $5,000 for eggs.
Exactly. That's the other double-edged sword, right? Like, it's like getting credits for housing. You'll get credits for housing, and then the developers will just be like, okay, well now we could charge an extra $5,000 for this house because people are getting extra $5,000. So it's
Right.
like there's a double-edged sword. To live comfortably, I don't know. It's hard to say. If prices stayed the same, $2,000 a week would be, I think, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not saying like other than that, it'd be like, well, what would you do if you won the lottery? Kind of deal,
Right. As long as you're not going all balls out in,
Yeah, like what? Like how many people have won the lottery and like they're poor afterwards? Did you see that Family? Have you ever watch Family Guy?
every once in a while.
When they had that episode, like they won the lottery, and then they lost it all in like 3 months. They're like, "Fuck, now we got to win the lottery again." And then they do it, and they win it again, and they lose it again in 3 months.
No, I didn't see that.
And it was kind of like a jab at people that have won the lottery. They get all this expensive, crazy shit, and they go broke right away. And it's like now they have to sell all that shit.
Yeah, I think if you win the lottery, the first
Repossessed.
thing you have to do is like just set some aside for like yourself in the future, like i.e. retirement. So that way, in case you do something stupid and blow all your money, you're set up still in the later on. You don't have to worry about it later on.
See, like I've had this conversation with a lot of people.
Yeah,
and I don't think I'd go crazy, dude. Like
you say that now.
No, I would definitely get like cool shit.
Yeah,
but I don't think I'd get like I wouldn't go and get like a $9 million mansion. Like if you got Elon money, I'd be like, I don't need that, dude.
But that's like level money where it's so much that whatever you spend doesn't really matter.
Right. I still don't think I would need that. I'd be like, you know what?
So you're on that Asmund Gold. You know who Asmund Gold is?
Yeah.
You're on the Asmund Gold train where he's like a multimillionaire from streaming, but he still lives in his parents' house doing the same thing. Still lives, he doesn't.
See, I wouldn't do that, but I'd have like my ideal thing would be like I'd probably move to like Texas, somewhere warm where the winters could get cold, but not cold like here.
Okay.
And then you buy a couple acres, you set up family members or whoever you want.
Yeah.
Set up yourself for the rest of your life. Like you said, you put money away.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I would have to keep busy doing something. Like I would definitely continue the podcast.
Yeah.
I would do stuff like that. I wouldn't go out and buy a Lamborghini because I'm like, I don't need that.
Right.
Like I would be like, okay, would I get my like a Jeep Gladiator because I've always wanted one? Yeah, I would go out and get that. But that's
Gladiator's dope.
Yeah, I would go out and buy me one because I'm like, I want that. I've always wanted that.
Yeah.
And I think I would have 2 cars for me. I would get my wife whatever car she wanted. If she wanted a Lambo, that's on her. I'd be like, you don't need that. But hey, if it's what you want,
right.
If we can afford it, fuck it. But I wouldn't go and get a 20-room house. I'd be like, all right, we got 5, 7 rooms. Okay, it's not a mansion, dude. It's a big house.
It has more empty space, more to clean. The whole
Exactly.
Thing. I know a couple guys that are like CEOs and stuff just from like my previous work. And like, dude, these guys would come in, they had like, 3, 4 AMGs. The one guy had an Italia that he just took out on the like Ferrari Italia. They just took out on the weekends, like for an hour on his lunch break or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he'd come in with like gray Hanes sweatshirt, dad jeans, K-Swiss, but he had a ball and Rolex on. It was like 20, 25K Rolex, and that's the only way you knew he had money. But like, once you get to a certain point, you're like not trying to show off anymore. You want to hide that.
Yeah.
But in the interim, there's people that try to show off wearing the top designer stuff, but it's like you're a target then.
Yeah, but see, like, I'd probably still get my fucking clothes from Sam's Club.
Hey, Walmart. I get my clothes from
Walmart.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't go out and be like, ooh, I like those $200 Express jeans.
Right.
I need that Zara or, that Carolina Herrera perfume. Shit like that. I'd be like, nah, I don't need that. Like, and here's the thing. I think that comes from how we've grown up, where we had to work and we know the cost of things, to the point where we're like, all right, is this really worth it? Where you look at like an object, you're like, all right, is this really worth it? Like, oh, I'm gonna buy I'm gonna build a 7-room house that's really big, but I'm gonna have an architect and I'm gonna tell him what I want. He's gonna design it, and then it's gonna cost me $500,000, $700,000. But you're like, I have that money and I want that, and I know what I'm gonna do with that. Boom, you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say because I feel like right now there's a lot of things that you could spend money on, but they're kind of locked out of your psyche because you can't afford them, so you don't even think about them. But once you have so much money, like the little mundane things, like, I don't really need that. That's like, it's too cheap. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's hard to say.
I guess, yeah. I mean, you could go with the argument that you could say, well, you're not in the position, so you don't really know. You can't say.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, at this point, am I just burning money?
Yeah.
It's one of those situations.
You know who Brian Johnson is?
Sounds familiar.
I think I'd be on his track. He's like
lead singer from AC/DC?
No, a different Brian Johnson. He's the guy that started Venmo, and he sold it for like some millions of dollars, whatever. But he's like a multi-billionaire now. But he tries to do his whole thing now is live forever.
Mm-hmm.
So all his money that he spends is on basically extending his life, and he maps his markers and stuff every single day, and he's reversed his genetic age from like 50, almost 60 years old, what he is now, to like that of a 20-year-old.
So he's kind of doing the Joe Rogan thing.
Yeah, just like that's his sole focus. Like Joe Rogan's got obviously other things like being in shape and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, dude, but he's like a resto mod. Like he's had so much shit done where it is like, yeah, he's in better shape than me for sure. But he's in the position where he's got the money to do it, and he's like, he likes taking care of himself.
Yeah.
he works out, obviously. He does all his, stuff. Where he's like near 60,
Yeah.
but he looks 40.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this guy takes it to a little more extreme. Like he's famous for quoting this term called "blood boys,"
Okay.
where he took his son and transfused his son's blood into his body, and that basically gave him all the benefits of having younger DNA and
Blood
hormones
cells,
and all that stuff. And then he took his blood and transfused it with his dad, which is like 70 plus, and his dad felt younger. And then I think the effect lasted like a few months at least. But that's the kind of like, it's like biohacking essentially.
Just wait till they inject some of that direwolf DNA in him.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna have some fucking True Blood shit on our hands.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So when you got money, there's other things that are in your possibility and reach that you wouldn't think about normally when you are broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely opens up a lot of doors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, as far as the material stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've never been into designer clothes and stuff. I mean, for a little while, it's like Tommy Hilfiger and stuff like that back in the
I'm not saying
90s.
I wouldn't get some stuff that is pricey that I might like.
Like a one-off.
Yeah, here and there. Like, I know Talia would be like, yeah, I need this designer bag that's $10,000. I'd be like, do you want that or do you need that?
Right. And then the other thing is like, somebody's going to see that and be like, oh, that's $10,000 bag. Let me yoink and grab that. You know what I mean?
Not only that, dude. Then you have the fucking the con artists that are like, hey, I'm your cousin. You remember when I did this favor for you? You're like, fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. That's why a lot of people that win the lottery, the first thing they do is change their name and move.
I don't think like I said, I've had this conversation with a lot of people, Talia included, Kyle or whatever. I'm like, I don't think I'd tell, like, the people that need to know would know. I would tell them. I'd be like, hey, we have this, but we're not going to blow it. Sure. But we are going to set ourselves up. We're going to have, like, we're going to set up the people closest to us. We're going to set them up if
so like, here's 10,000, here's 10,000, whatever,
Depends on the amount that you have. Like, if you got Elon money, you'd be like, dude, whatever. Bro,
that guy is pumping out babies and paying these women like
$500,000.
Yeah, like the one,
and they don't even know if the baby's his.
Yeah,
I saw that.
You heard the Ashley St. Clair story?
Yeah, I was just.
She's hot, but like, I mean, he was paying like, I think $40,000 a month for her apartment, and he gave her like a $500 million like stipend basically, and he didn't even know if the kid was hers or his.
It's like what was it? His name, the basketball player who just Anthony Davis, I think.
Magic Johnson.
No.
Oh.
No, he's a younger guy. He's an NBA player. He hooked up with an older woman.
Okay.
So like
hopefully a woman.
Yeah, it was a woman. She had his kid. He told her. So first of all,
you never know nowadays.
He paid for her to have the abortion and whatnot. He gave her like a big chunk to get it done right. The chick was like, nope. She kept the money, had the baby, and then she moved to LA to sue him for alimony and all that shit. Even though they weren't married, but like what's it called?
Like child support or something?
Yes, child support. She wanted to do it in Cali because she'd know she'd get a big chunk. I think they didn't go through with that, and then she took him to court, and he was just like, I didn't want this baby. I want nothing to do with you. If I have to pay child support, how much do I need to pay? And they're like, oh, it's going to be this much per month, per year, whatever.
And it's based on what you make.
And then he's like, no. I want to know how much it is for the 18 years. I'm going to pay that up front.
Damn.
And he was just like, I want no involvement in the kid's life. I want nothing to do with you. He's like, I want you to be gone. So he's like, how much do I need to pay to just get out of my life?
So he's on that Hunter Biden program.
Maybe.
I don't know. If I had a kid, I don't know if I'd want to just not be in their lives. Like, obviously, depending on the baby mama situation, that would play a big role in it. But you got to at least see the kid every once in a while. Like, you can't just totally disown him.
I mean, I'm sure he's a young guy.
Yeah.
So his perspective might change. Sure. But he's like, he didn't want to marry this chick. He wanted to just mess around.
Yeah.
The thing happened, and he's like, I want nothing to do with either of you. I don't want to be like, dude. Me as a father, I'm like, dude, I cannot see myself not being a part of her life.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not a father, but like, still, that's your, you know, your kin, your offspring, right? So it's like, how can you just not be in their lives? I mean, I understand like
And
not
it's
being
not the
there
baby's
every
fault.
day.
And it's not the kid's fault.
Right, exactly.
That's the worst part. Like I saw they were interviewing this guy. He was a black gentleman, and they're asking him. They're like, "Do you like?" They're like, "If your kid was a NBA player or a NFL player or a superstar in any genre of imaginable, and
why can't it be tennis, bro? Why does it gotta be NFL or NBA?
It could be tennis. It could be soccer. It could be whatever you want. It could be hockey. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But they're asking him like, "Do you feel he owes you?" And he was like, "No." He's like, "Why would my kid owe me? He didn't ask to come into this world."
Yeah.
And I remember for the longest time, you know, when we were planning to have Allison, like, obviously, I love being a father. It's the greatest feeling in the world. Honestly, you have no idea. It is the greatest feeling in the world to look into their eyes and see them like light up when you're there and they're happy to see you and all that. And they hug you and all the little things, dude. But at the same time, I had her at an age where I've seen how the world was, how it is, and where it's going. And I'm just like, it's rough, dude. Like, it's rough for the future generations.
I've actually thought about this before, and like, so I know that's probably why a deterrence, you know, as far as, and also side to affordability and stuff to like people having kids nowadays, and why the fertility rate is so low.
Idiocracy.
Yeah, essentially. But I feel like as a parent, that'd also be like the chance to change that trajectory by raising your kid a certain way. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like, dude. We went to. Well, I did because I had a lot of bad juju on me for a while.
Yeah.
So, they contacted me with this lady who was like an evangelist, and she kind of was like an evangelist type medium type lady.
Okay.
And I was like, well, you know, if she could brush all the shit off, cool. If not, you know, I'm not sure if it's real, it's not, but if she did, cool. So I went. She went through the process, and this is when Allison was already in the works. She was already baking, per se.
Okay.
And we told her, and she was like, your baby's going to be... Like, I don't know if she was just saying it to be smart. I'm sure she's not going to tell somebody, like, hey, your baby's going to be a retard. You know?
She said that?
No, I'm sure she wouldn't say that.
Like,
I'm saying...
like,
sure, no, she told us, she's like, your kid is going to be super smart. She's like... Okay. She was telling us, she's like, she didn't know that I had a degree in engineering. She didn't know Tyler had a master's and everything. Like, she didn't know we actually went to school and studied. Like, so we're not just like, oh, our education got stunted at some point.
Sure.
You know, we actually went beyond, you know, the normal, the norm, and it was, you know, those are things that you do by choice. You're like, you don't have to go to college if you don't want to. You know, it's not for everybody.
Right. It doesn't also make you smarter than somebody that didn't go to college.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. That's definitely true. But she's like, this baby is gonna be smart. She's gonna be like she didn't want it. She didn't say like this. She didn't say like she's gonna be conning you. But she's like, she's definitely gonna have a leg up on you guys. And now
I mean, that's the goal, right?
Huh? Yeah, that is the goal. As long as she's not like, hey, Dad, I need $20 to, you know, do this, and it's like, oh no, I'm getting drugs.
Yeah.
You know, shit like that. I'm like, no. Like, so that's the point where you're like, okay, I got to make sure she's on the right path, and we're looking out for like, oh, we got to start stimulating her, you know, her brain for learning. It's, dude, she's sharp, dude.
Are you guys teaching her like the multilingual type thing?
Yeah, she watches Miss Rachel.
Oh man, I got some words about Miss Rachel. I think I've told you before.
Oh, dude, Miss Rachel slaps, dude. You do not talk bad about Miss Rachel.
That's some brainwashing stuff right there.
No, dude. So that she's got that.
Look it up, brainwashing Miss Rachel.
That's in English, and then she watches Cocomelon in Spanish. I'm sure you got something to say about
Cocomelon's right there in the same vein.
Yeah, I'm sure you got that.
YouTube, Cocomelon, Miss Rachel, brainwashing. Do it now. Come back. Pause the thing and come back.
No, we're not doing that. We'll check it out after. I'll look into it. Because my brother told me the same thing. He's like, oh, And then like
or they use colors, they use sounds to activate parts of the brain for a kid that act the same way as drugs do.
Yeah.
But it's like you know the whole thing like why people have short attention spans is because like
TikTok,
you're
Grapevine,
scrolling, you scroll, and then once you scroll past something, you train your brain to forget the last post you looked at and look at the new one. So it's creating people having short attention spans because of that. And that's the same thing for CoComelon, Miss Rachel, but on a whole different scale for developing brains.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's kids shows. So right now that's what she's into. We're going to get her into Bluey. I did want her to avoid Peppa Pig. I heard Peppa Pig is like diabolic. I wanted to avoid Hello Kitty because I heard that's fucking Chinese propaganda.
Have you gone down that YouTube rabbit hole? I forget exactly what it's called, but it was a thing that happened for a while. I think in the 2010s or whatever.
I'm not gonna have her reading Tolstoy when she's 5, dude. Relax.
We should. Why not?
No.
No, but
I don't know how much she'll retain.
YouTube random rabbit hole that kids were exposed to for a long time. I forget the term. I'll have to look at it. But basically, you would autoplay a YouTube video, and kids would watch it. And, their parents would just leave the kids alone or whatever watching YouTube. And then the algorithm would automatically play the most, attention-grabbing things. But they were, like, Hitler in a dress, dancing with, like, elephants and, like, random stuff like that.
Bill Clinton in a blue dress.
Bro, crazy stuff, yeah.
Dude, so here's the thing. CoComelon, who watched that, and like there's gay parents on there, like 2 dads. So I was like, I hope she doesn't that doesn't get imprinted in her brain, because that's gonna be a hard one to explain. Nothing against the gays. I love the gays. I have gay friends.
Yeah. I gotta think it's.
But I'm like, I don't want my kid to be like, yeah, I want a sex change at 7 or whatever.
They're like a younger kid should not know what sex or anything like that is.
Right.
They should be learning their basics about life.
Right. And I like to think that once she's old enough and she kind of understands some things, I can tell her like, oh, that's just 2 people that love each other. They care about each other, kind of like mommy and daddy do. But, for them, it's them 2. And, you're not going to get into like, well, how do they make a baby till like years later? And then she's going to be a teenager and tell me to fuck off. And I'll be like, well, you know what? Those 2 days were butt plugging each other. But whatever. Anyway, so anytime right now, like she's never alone. So it's either Talia's with her or I'm with her. So we're watching. So we saw the CoComelon thing and I was like, I'm not a big fan of that, but whatever.
Sure.
It's part of the show. Fuck it. And then Ms. Rachel, I haven't seen anything like that on there. It's all like you said, it's like colors, numbers, and they sing the songs and they got the phonics and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they like she has learned some things from there, like clapping, and like she starts to say hi, bye, and stuff like that. And she makes these cute little noises, but she like it's entertaining for her.
Okay.
And like trust me, dude, we've been on a loop of those 2 shows. Like I almost already know them back and forth.
I grew up on
Power Rangers.
Well, that was later on, but yeah, that was like in my junior, preteen years. But Mother Goose and Sesame Street, that was like my two go-tos.
Yeah. I think she'll eventually get into Sesame Street.
And Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers. Dude, if they had Mr. Rogers on the air right now,
bro,
I gotta see if they got the episodes on fucking YouTube.
I bet they do.
Dude, Mr. Rogers slapped. Dude.
I remember still remember the Crayon Factory tour when he'd do like behind the scenes, like this is how this is made, and you watching like, oh, that's cool.
Dude, he was like the one guy who had like, because this was back in like what, the 80s, 70s. Mm-hmm. He was the first guy to have like a black guy and respected him on TV and shit. Like,
I believe it.
Like this was like Jefferson's era where they still like said the N-word on TV and shit.
Red Fox.
Yeah.
Sanford and Sons.
Oh, dude, I love it.
That was a good show.
Yeah.
But that was some, a lot of stuff cannot pass nowadays.
What was it? What was his wife's name? He's like, I'm calling Elizabeth.
Ethel or something like that. No, that was Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Ethel was
Georgia Wheezy.
No, that was Family
Matters.
No, not Family Matters. That was it started with the piano and Archie Bunker.
Oh yeah, All in the Family.
All in the Family. Yeah.
Dude, those old shows.
I think Family Ties, but I know it's not right.
All in the Family was fucking harsh, dude. That was a racist show, dude. But it was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. Same thing with Red Fox and stuff. That was pretty racist too. It was just in a different vein.
Oh yeah, dude. And George Jefferson, he was fucking.
Oh yeah.
What are you talking about, honky?
I was like, misogynist, racist, like all the
but it was
nowadays.
It was a show for that time. Like that shit. Like you know, right now you can't watch the Dukes of Hazzard because it had the fucking Confederate flag on the General Lee.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I get it. You know, but like it's like.
But the thing is, we don't have to be offended by everything that we see now. Like, you should be able to see it and make your own mind up. But the thing is, people don't have critical thinking nowadays. Like, people believe whatever they're told.
I completely agree with that. People do not have critical thinking. Well, not to say they don't have it, but
not everybody, obviously.
It's few and far between.
Now.
Yeah. Like, there's a thing I say sometimes when I'm like, "Oh, my common sense is tingling." You know, like, my God, why would you do that?
It's like a special sense.
Yeah, it's like my common sense is tingling. Like, why the fuck?
It's the NPC versus non-NPC idea.
Yeah.
Did you know this? I didn't know this for a long time, but there's a lot of people. Actually, I think in the United States is like 50 to 60% of the people don't have an inner voice or inner monologue. Like when you think of something, you can hear your own voice.
Yeah.
50 to 60% of Americans don't have that.
Shut up.
No, I swear. And then there's a smaller section of people that can't even like picture, like I say, oh, think of in your mind a red shiny apple, and when you bite into it, it's delicious and you can see the juiciness. Like people can't picture that in their head. I can visualize that.
Yeah, I just did it right now when you said it. I was like,
yeah. So there's a huge group of people, less or so on the visualization part, because the people that don't have inner voices actually visualize things more.
I even heard the sound crunching into the apple.
Yeah, exactly.
When it pictured it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people that don't have an inner monologue. And the crazy thing is, most of those people are artists.
Dude, I have inner movies in my head.
Yeah, I'm always having conversations back and forth in my head, or if I'm like thinking about something, like I hear my voice.
An argument ends is like, fuck, I should have said this. And then you picture the whole argument in your head the different way, like, oh, I would have told this motherfucker that.
Exactly. So there's a lot of people that don't, and the only way they can think, if they think something, they're talking about it, like physically out loud. Yeah.
I did not know that. That's
So I think there's a lot of NPCs because of that. That's my own theory, though.
That's the simulation, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I wish my sim guy would fucking be like, oh, I need to fucking buy some DLCs for this guy.
I know, right? Get some upgrades.
Yeah. I need to get him this fucking cool-ass thing.
Yep.
Do you think we're in a simulation or not?
You know, I don't know about that whole theory. I know a lot of people do believe it. I'm going to say no.
You're like, it is what it is?
I think we're living life. Now, if you ask me, did we jump timelines at some point in time? Like the whole Mandela effect?
Yeah. Like the Bernstein Bears?
Yeah. 100%. I feel like it's either that or there's some psychological operation on society.
A huge psyop.
Yeah, that's testing that, because Berenstain Bears, it was 100% Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
There's Fruit of the Loom. Like that, there was definitely a cornucopia.
Do you remember the Kazam thing too?
Yes.
There was a movie, right, with fucking what's his name? Sinbad.
Shazam.
It was Kazam.
There was Shazam, and there was also Kazam, which was Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
So both those existed, 100%.
But Sinbad came out. He's like, it wasn't a movie; it was a commercial.
Right, and that's why I think we jumped timelines.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking wild.
Shout out to CERN.
Yeah, the was it Particle Collider or whatever?
Yeah, Large Hadron Particle Collider.
Yeah, dark matter and stuff. Yep. I saw Angels and Demons, dude. You know McGregor, Carberlango.
Yep, I live next to a particle accelerator, the second largest in the world.
Oh, dude, if you go boom, let me know.
I'm telling you, man. There's some crazy experiments going on that I
believe it, dude. 100%.
Yep.
100%.
The Mandela effect, though, there's a lot of crazy ones. Like I saw this viral video of this chick. She had a film where she was filming like a blockbuster back in the day, and there was Shazam and Kazam.
Yeah.
But nowadays, people say it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of those people that don't have the inner monologue.
You think so?
Yeah. Dude, how can you? I think the Mandela effect was created as a psyop to be like, oh, we're gonna fuck with people, see if like they remember.
Yeah.
And then there's a few of us who are like, no, I lived it. I remember it was the Bernstein Bears. It's not Bernstein.
Yep.
And then little titty bit things, like there was the thing with the Volkswagen. It's like, oh, did it have the dash between the V and the W or not? And I'm like, yeah, it definitely did. How would you separate the V and the W, dumbass?
Right.
or the Ford one. Oh, does it have the line or does it not have the line on the F? And it's like, yeah, it's an F, dude.
I mean, obviously the OG.
It's not Tord, it's Ford.
Right, the OG Mandela effect is Nelson Mandela's death, and I do remember him dying in prison in Africa.
Yeah.
Like, I do remember that, but then apparently he didn't.
Yeah, they said he was, like, let go and, you know.
Yeah.
That shit. Yeah.
Or what's the other one? Like, there was the Britney Spears. Back in the day, what was the music video where she was wearing, like, the orange, like, vinyl leather jumpsuit or whatever?
For Oops, I Did It Again, yeah.
Yeah, she had a microphone in that video. And they even came out with action figures where she had a microphone, like a Barbie.
Yeah.
But apparently she didn't.
Oh, she definitely did.
Yeah.
And now if you look at the video, she doesn't.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
edited it out. Yeah. It's all AI, man.
Yeah. AI or, somebody's messing with us.
I believe it. 100%, dude. Somebody's fun. It's a huge psyop, dude.
Do you remember Oscar Mayer hot dogs?
Oscar Mayer hot dogs? It's always been Oscar Mayer.
Well, some people think it's Oscar Mayer.
No, it's Oscar Mayer.
Yeah. Well, that's another.
The Oscar Mayer fucking wagon.
Yeah, the weenie dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the Monopoly man?
Had the monocle, for sure.
Yeah, so they say he didn't.
No, he does, for sure. Dude,
he did.
It's even in Ace Ventura.
Yeah,
because he sees the dude with the monocle, and he's like, "Oh, it's the Monopoly guy."
Right. So apparently he didn't, though.
He did, for sure.
I remember he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, some people say, like, these are things we're conjuring up because we want them to be true, and I'm like, no, dude.
But why would we all want the same thing to be true?
Right, and that's where I'm like, dude, you don't even have an inner monologue, dude. I have conversations with myself. I look in the mirror and have conversations with myself sometimes because I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Or we need to do this. Or like, get in the game, son.
Yeah.
Right,
like you're like psyching yourself up, like even if you're like working out or jogging or whatever, you're like telling yourself like and you're mentally like, oh, keep going, you got it, like a coach would,
Yeah.
Some people don't have that. Wild, right?
That's the future, man.
But 50 to 60%, it's hard to actually say because you can't really think of what somebody else is thinking, but by the estimates, they think 50 to 60% of Americans don't have the inner monologue.
Oh man, that's fucking wild.
Right? It explains a lot, though.
It does. That's why 88 plus 22 is 100. It's 100, not 110.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you can't do math in your head. That's because you can't talk to yourself.
Right.
If you can't picture an apple, how are you going to picture multiplication and addition and subtraction?
Well, the funny thing is, I know one person, and I honestly don't know, obviously, if they're messing with me or if they're telling the truth. But I think they're telling the truth because they told me that they don't have an inner monologue. And they're always like watching something. They're always like listening to something. They're always talking out loud, like basically no filter when they're saying things, which would be kind of like what a non-inner monologue person has, but they're really good at math because they can just do the math and come out with the answer. Whereas as opposed to like a person that has an inner monologue, you might second guess it in your mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that's why a lot of artists actually don't have inner monologues because they're good at just creating images that they see in their mind.
But they need to express them out.
Yeah, because they can't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's wild.
That is pretty wild.
Yep.
That's some wild shit, dude.
Right? A lot of people don't know that. I just found that out recently, like maybe a couple of years ago, but like a few months ago we started talking about it at work, and like a lot of people were like, no way, that's not real. I'm like, look it up. We looked it up, used
did some of these people
Gemini,
did they all have inner monologue, or some of them were like, I don't have inner monologue, what are you talking about?
No, they all had inner monologues. But the thing is, like a lot of people that don't have inner monologues don't know that they don't have inner monologues. Like you remember Wonder Years when you'd have Kevin or whatever having the voiceover, like, oh, people thought that they did that just for movies. They didn't know that that's how people actually think.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Boom.
Boom.
Blew my mind.
Yeah, look it up. It's crazy.
I definitely gonna fucking look into it, dude.
Yeah, it's wild.
Wow.
And to think that, like when I first thought about it, I'm like, oh, it's got to be like a small percentage of people. But when you find out it's like 50 to 60% of the people, you're like, dang.
That's so crazy, dude.
Yeah. It's wild.
My inner monologue's telling you to bust out that tequila. I don't know if you could read my inner monologue or see it.
Yellow bottle?
Yellow bottle. Let's do it again.
Right, let's go. Let me not pull any wires down here.
That's so crazy, dude.
Right? You guys, what are you guys cracking open Malorts over here?
Oh, that was a punishment for Kyle because he lost the food challenge.
What was the food challenge?
We had to smash a small deep dish, so like a personal
From where?
deep dish. It was Giordano's.
I want to pour you one.
And
You guys are missing out. You're not getting Illuminati.
oh, we've had Lou.
Okay.
But we got that for the food challenge. We had some fries, and I think we had to smash down like 2 beers apiece. It was time. So it
What
was
was the
like
time?
the time of the show.
Okay.
I think it was
That's
like
easy.
I remember it was like half an hour or something. That one actually got.
I could do that myself.
Oh, dude, we thought the same thing. We actually got flagged for that because it was rated like oh, this is dangerous.
What do they
Because
call
it
it?
had no disclaimer or anything.
So like who's that one famous YouTuber, the mukbang challenge guy?
I don't know, but like we got like Beard Meats
Cheers.
Foods or there's a couple of food challengers we found. We did a whole series on food challengers, so it would. But yeah, dude, it was wild.
There's that famous YouTuber. He would do the mukbang challenges, and then like he kind of disappeared off the map for a month or whatever, and people were like confused. And then he came back, and he was super thin, and everybody's like, "What? How did that happen?" And it's like this dude was genius because he would record all these mukbang challenges in a very short time frame, but then drip feed them to his YouTube audience. But the entire time he was working out and getting back in shape. And he was a multimillionaire from doing all this stuff. I forget his name. He's famous though. Some of you people probably know who he is.
Oh, dude, you got a lot of information I need to digest, dude. So,
Bro, this
Yeah.
brain is full of random information that's not necessary
dude,
to my regular life.
You got to come back, dude, with Kyle. Dude, we got to have a 3-way conversation on this.
Oh, yeah.
You're dumping a lot on me. It's like an ice bucket challenge over here.
Yeah, I bet you Kyle knows some of this information.
He
Like,
really does. He does. He's a smart dude. He reads up on shit.
yeah, just like you guys. You guys know some stuff that I don't know, like the mangas and all the things, you know.
Well, that's just like personal preference stuff. But.
My personal preference is like chaos. That's what I like.
And with that, we'll end it.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
Good night, everybody.
All right, cheers.
And